Hello dear kids, I hope you are fit and fine, and I also hope that you are maintaining self-distancing at your home. Now the today's timings are it's like crucial time. The time which we are living today is so crucial, or we can say that it is so rapid, in which we need to understand that everything should be taken in the regular routine, as well the education too. Though you are not coming to school and we are not coming at your home, then also we are trying to deliver this virtual lecture through the medium of this YouTube channel. I hope you all are enjoying this lecture, and also you are learning some basic examples related to the text topic and your syllabus too. So today's lecture is all about the lecture which I am teaching you and written on behind me over the blackboard. So in the first chapter, we studied about how the Britishers came in India, what they did in India, and how they ruled. In the second chapter, which you can see behind me, the Russian Revolution and the World War First, or we can say that the First World War and the Russian Revolution. In this chapter also we studied about Nazism, then fascism, then we studied about militarism, how the other countries like Japan, America, Russia, Bulgaria, Hungary, China and all, they started their militarism, how the world was divided into basic two categories, allied nation and the Axis nation. Also we studied that what was the Treaty of Versailles, what was the role of France in the war peace, what is the role of Germany, and many more things here. So students, now we will be slowly moving towards the today's chapter. So in the today's chapter, you need to focus on the page which is written there. So you need to focus on the page number 12 of a SS textbook, lesson number 2, 9th standard. These pages consist of some of the topics of today which I'm gonna clear you. The First World War, then the effect of the First World War and immediate effects also. As well, I'll make you understand the destruction of man and material also due to the immediate cause. And after this all theory, what was the social change? That also we'll study today. So let's start the today's lecture. See my dear students, if you talk about the First World War, 24 nations supported allied nation. Remember that 24 nations supported allied nation, same as we can say that the 4 nations supported the Axis nation. Means allied nation group of category was powerful than compared with the group of category of the Axis nation. So now initially, what was Germany about to make? Germany was about to make the noteworthy victory. It means that Germany was thinking to make the noteworthy victory in the Europe. So it also inspired the other country to do the same thing what Germany did. It turned French army also, somehow we can say, in the Europe. Then it ruined French army too, as well. If you go more further, so it fought many submarine wars also. Submarine war means the submarines which are actually working under the sea, underneath the water. So that submarine war too, the Germany did, okay. And somehow it also fought many submarine ships of, we can say, like allied with the allied nations, and destroyed their ship also. Many soldiers, civilian people, they all died in this war. War is not for peace, it is not for the play, it is actually a game with the bloody rain. So we can say that everywhere you will find the destruction, dead bodies, ammunition and many more things here. So it was a social change which was going destructively. So here we can understand. So if you talk about the date of 1917, the Russian Revolution started here. In which year? That is the 1917. The Russian Revolution started. Now what was in the Russian Revolution? We need to understand Russia withdrew its membership. Okay, see, Russia withdrew the membership from the war. Somehow Germany was very strong at the time. So when the Germany was very strong at the time, we can say that it managed down to pull America also, American streamers. So Russia withdrew the war with the Germany. As well, Germany was becoming so vigorous, so impatient, that Germany was trying to fight with all the other nations. It managed to draw down the American steamer. Now where it held at Louisiana. Remember the name here, that's the Louisiana, that is Louisiana, you can call it out. And within that, 147 American soldiers died. So now America will also take the revenge. It's very much necessary. So American people, American soldiers somehow joined the allied nation to take the badala. And America joined the Axis nation, and at that time, thus we can say in the 1917 only, this all the materialistic thinking and this all the relationships happened with the other nations. So in the meanwhile, we can say that the countries also other joined this allied nation. Now whether countries like Panama, Greece, Cuba, we just remember the name here. See, the Panama, Greece, Cuba, China, Siam also joined this kinds of allied nation treaty. And also if I go more further, so thus we can say allied nation became stronger and more stronger, and now somehow we can say that the whole position of the war was changed now. Now Germany was about to become alone, and you know, sometime when we are alone, we are somehow going to give all the benefits to the people who are our enemies, and they will take all the chances because we are alone. So my dear student here, thus we can say allied nation became stronger. And if you go more further, German people army could not withstand with this army and the group also. So when Germans could not withstand with this army and the troops, the whole position of the war was somehow changed. The whole scenario changed here, and somehow we can say that Bulgaria, remember this name, Bulgaria, in September 1918, just after the year of 1917, Bulgaria in the year 1918, and Turkey and Austria in the year October 1918 also joined the allied nation. Thus we can say that German leader Kaiser ran away. He abdicated his post, he abdicated his position and ran away. Why? Because Germany was all alone, surrendered to the allied nation. Germany now signed the ceasefire treaty. As well, the war came to an end. Now what is ceasefire treaty? Ceasefire treaty means you are not allowed to fire apart from your border to the other nation without any kind of permission or without any kind of legal reason. That is ceasefire treaty. So one thing you need to understand, my dear students, here, whenever you are trying to prove your supremacy, you should think that if you will be alone, what will be happening to you all? What will happen? So Germany was same like that. When Germany was thinking that I will conquer all the world leadership, I will hit everybody. But when everyone joined the allied nation, Germany remained alone. And when Germany remained alone, Germany was very, very puzzled to think that what shall I do. And at that meanwhile, we can say that the Kaiser went away from the Germany. It left the Germany. And what happened? That was the basic first effect of the World War, and immediate effects also. Now we'll go to the immediate effect. Now when the Kaiser was out of the Germany, there was no Kaisers in the Germany, there was no any ruling power, no any king was there in the Germany, then what will happen? Then at that time we can say that Germany was taken on an extinct to the verge for the penalty also. Obviously you need to give the penalty. Why? Because you also somehow destructed other people, their land, their property, men and material. So now if your turn is there, we will take everything. So if we go more further, my dear students, destruction of the man and material and the effect of the World War also can be seen in the immediate cause. So we can understand here that the immediate cause was related with the destruction of man and material. So now we'll study about this man and material, and then we'll move to the social change also. So we need to understand approximately 6.5 crore people were somehow taken part in this war. And what happened, my dear? All, at least if I just calculate the 6.5 if I talk about 6.5 crore of the people that took place in this part of the war, somehow most of them became dead. About, like, if you talk about the graphical calculation or the numerical calculation, we can say that about 2 crore people were somehow injured. And if I talk about more than other 2 crore people were somehow handicapped. Okay, for example, we can say that 70 lakh people somehow remained permanently handicapped, and more than 1 crore people died, where the 2 crore people were injured. This is a very dangerous and horrible calculation about the war. And that's why I'm telling you, war is not for the peace, war is not for the sacred work, war is for the blood rain, and we don't wish any war. So moving further, what was the social change in them? Now see, whenever there is a war, you need to understand the men are working at the war front, the female has to sit at home. They all have to sit at home. So here, the female came in the front to handle their houses. So here, during the First World War, since if I talk about the majority of the men were more in all the nations who were fighting in the war, they were in the war front. If you generally take a calculation, then we can say women shoulder responsibility of the family came there. Most of men died, other than got injured, rest of became somehow handicapped permanently. So who will take care of the houses? Who will take the care of the farm? Who will take the care of family? Women were there. The women came in the front. So now that was a social change. They stepped out of their home to come out and take the responsibility, successfully took over the responsibility in the different positions like teaching field, farming field, artisans field, political field. Also women get power. Okay, and laterally what happened, they become like self-confidence, they got the self-reliance also, and they became equivalent to the men. So they demanded legal position, that we are also equivalent to the men, women are also equivalent to the men. And so here we can say consequently the demand and the demand related thing also emerged well. So in this case of theory, we can say women to exercise their franchises came out. Now women were also needing all the rules and regulations in their own court or in their own favor. And so as if you go more further, some of the problems also came, like unemployment here, then scarcity of the food, and if you go more for the starvation, bhukmari, if we call it starvation, then lockouts, company ban, strikes. Okay, the rallies were taken on the highways and all, everything started there, because this was the general thing which happened in the social change of the people. And if you go more further, people suffered lots, and the condition of the children were very pathetic, or we can say poor. Yes, because dad is not there. Okay, mom, she will handle the house, but how max she will handle? How max? She is not able to handle all the time. Why? Because the house is built up by two personalities. One is father and one is mother. They both are needed. If one is not there, then if mother is not there, father will be not about to handle the house properly. And if father is not there, mother will be not allowed, or she will be not about to have capacity that much. So they both are equivalent, and they both are very much necessary in the house. Father also and the mother also. So here we can say that this was the social change about the lesson. Now the story is not ending till here only, my dear students. It is going more apart from that. So what is there? See why these all the things happened and what was the consequences, reasons for that. So we need to understand the next thing, that is the Treaty of Versailles. Now what was Treaty of Versailles? So first of all, see, let me make you understand. Treaty means a consignment or a legal, we can say, contract which is signed between two countries. Treaty of Versailles was that only. So we can say June 1919. Remember this date, my dear. This date is also the date 1919 where Jallianwala Bagh Kand took place in the India, and 1990 is also for the Treaty of Versailles, for the World War First. So at the end of the First World War, if I talk about at the end of the First World War, the unconditional surrender of Germany made other people to cut Germany into pieces and pieces and take Germany's part. It means that take the advantage of the Germany. So my dear students, the Germany somehow went in the Allied, the Germany somehow bowed in front of the Allied nation, brought an end to the war, and then we can say that Allied nation undertook the peace process, means they started a punishment process to the Germany in the name of peace process. And in that term we can say, in which some 58, if I talk about, some 58 commissions were set. Apart from 145 sessions were held, and it was organized. Now the agreement with the Germany was made to incur all the tax, to take all the benefits from the Germany, because Germany was one time hitting all the nation in the war. So now they will take the revenge with the Germany. So now Germany during the peace process was made in the peace process was actually done and made in the Mirror Palace of Versailles. Okay, so thus it can be also known as the Treaty of Versailles, that you need to understand. And if you go more further, there were four, we can say, provisions of the Treaty of Versailles. How many provisions? Four provisions. Now which were they? The first provision was the regional arrangement. In which group of category Germany will be regionally arranged, where we will establish our colonies in Germany. Second thing was related to reduction of the troops and disarmament. Germany will not do any kind of ammunition production or army group building and all, no, without any permission. So reduction of the ammunition and disarmament, no arms process. Third was the arrangement of the distribution against, we can say that at the end of the war and war fine also, Germany has to pay the war fine. Chalo nikalo paise, like that. You were fighting with us. Ab tum niche baith gaye. Lao, give me the money. Now this money was not in the lakhs and dollars. It was in the dollars, in the crores amount, in the pounds amount. So we can say that the arrangement of the distribution for the war fine has to also be paid by the Germany, and if Germany is refusing to pay that, we will kill all the Germans, like that. So we can say that fourth one was that other provisions will be also taken. So if I talk about President Woodrow Wilson, what happened? The President Woodrow Wilson, the British Prime Minister, had also made this treaty in some that Germany has to pay 6.5 billion of the amount of money. We can say that 6.5 pound amount of money to the to the other countries as a war fine. So the President Woodrow Wilson, then if I talk about other people like French President Clemenceau, then if I talk about more Italian President like Orlando, okay, played an important role in the ministry in the end of the war in assigning the Germany to pay the war fine also. So here we can say they played an important role in assigning the treaty. Even like the minister George also played the many we can say role inside, like a very vital role inside framing this treaty. So my dear student, we can say that thus Germany, some part has to be given to these people, means the people who were somehow hurted by the countries who were hurted by German at a time when Germany was incurring the war. So somehow we can say that apart from along with the 6.5 billion pound currency amount has to paid, money amount has to paid by the Germany, its provinces should be also given there. So we can say the Rhine river the Rhine land has to be given to the French border, and it was also dissolved in the fortresses as well. They can also bring their company rule here as well. We can say that it has also give away the Ruhr region to the France. Some of the regions, Rhine river land should have to give to France, Ruhr province should have to give to the France, Alsace should be given to the France, and all like that, like provinces were divided here. And somehow we can say mineral region were also given away to the France for the 15 years, 15 saal ke liye, so that France will take all the income till the 15 years, and France will pay all its deposit and all its infrastructure to build up by the help of Germany, because Germany is now under their control. So my dear student, we can say most of the German organizations were confiscated by this. They were not allowing by this here. But what they will do, they don't have any kind of rules and regulation, and they don't have any kind of power also. So in this meanwhile, we can say the German was somehow, the German people, their land, their group of ammunition and many more things has to be given to this people. And apart from that, if you talk about now allied nations were somehow suppressing German, so a large quantity of the coal and iron annually was also somehow benefiting in the war. And if I talk about somehow we can say Germany was cut into the pieces and pieces, and it was taken by the other nations like France just on the Treaty of Versailles. And if I talk about, they made the sign and condition also with the Germany on the gunpoint, forcibly, means on the gunpoint, by forcefully, you have to do this, you don't have any other options. Thus we can say, because of which bitterness created in the German heart, the depression of the feeling created in the German people. And you know, depression, bitterness, hatred are the only thing which we can actually understand, which are generally taking us to the feeling where we kill each other, we take the revenge. So the German was somehow about to take the revenge. Consequently, and Germany system, like Germany people, they become poor very like in the very fastly, very emergently, because all the systematic development, farm products, everything, even their ports also, where the ship could come and go to the abroad countries and trade, was given to these kinds of people, allied nation. So therefore we can say that Germany was now feeling very, very insecure, and German people became like poor and hungry people too. As I have said you, they became somehow very, very powerless. So here in this lesson we can understand that, my dear student, the effect of the war and the Treaty of Versailles, the social change also somehow made the nation which were plunging into war to a destructive level of the position. So that was a general thing which I was discussing with you here. And if I talk about the long-term effect, what was the long-term effect? The fourth point. See, this is the first, second, this is second and third point. Now we'll move to the fourth point here. That there was a feeling of revenge in the we can say, which was igniting internally with the Treaty of Versailles, with the other nations related to German also, which was defeated in the war. And we can say peace could not be established with this treaty. Thus we can say socialist Russia, peace could not establish by this kind of treaty. So socialist Russia was not given a place in the League of Nations also. When Russia said that I want to also join the League of Nations, it hasn't got any place there. So Russia was also having some feeling of the haterism. It was also feeling about the revenge, and therefore we can say America did not join the League of Nations, Russia was not allowed to join the League of Nations. Thus that's why it can be also said that the reason for the Second World War was in the peace process only, which held in the First World War itself. So we need to understand that sometimes when we need to create peace, we create some rules and regulations also which are actually not helpful at all. So this was the reason about the First World War, and also it will cause further reasons for the Second World War too here. So students, I hope you enjoyed the lecture. This lecture was till here only. The page number 12 and the lesson number 2, 9th standard, the First World War and the Russian Revolution. Keep revising this kinds of chapter. If you have some doubt, you can contact your teachers too, and you can go on the Google too by yourself, demanding questions, and you can get the answers also. We'll meet in the next part of this theory. Till then, you can take care. Jai Hind.